Story time on how my password got leaked onto Roblox. This one day I was on Roblox. I was maybe around the age 7, 8. I was in those really catchy games called like Escape McDonald's or Escape whoever, you know? I was in all those like games. I'd always join a server with 3 noobs. Not noobs as in bacon hair. Noobs as in yellow, green, blue skin. I didn't think much about it until this one day. I was in one of those catchy games. As I was in it, I made it to this one part of the stage where I saw 3 of the noobs like huddled together in a circle. I was kind of confused, like what's happening, so I was just walking around and like investigating or something. I saw them chatting things. I was like really nervous. You will not believe what they chatted. Like for part 2. And thank you so much for the support. Part 2 on how my password got leaked onto Roblox. As I was investigating the noobs, I noticed they were typing something that I didn't feel comfortable about. They kept on typing my password. Not as in typing like they say it once and then they move on. They typed it like 5 or 6, maybe even more times. As they were typing it, people in the chat were going question mark. They were on a different level, so I couldn't really see them saying it, but I saw it in the chat. So I kind of felt uncomfortable. I just thought maybe they were talking about something else. It doesn't have to be my password. So I just kept on finishing the obby. Then I made it to this other point, maybe like 5 stages later. I saw the 3 exact same noobs, and they were just sitting by each other like a line. I was wondering, do they have an admin to this game or something? But now that I think of it, they were hackers, so of course they did. As they were sitting down, they were leaking my password again. But as they were leaking my password, it came with a little... Part 3 of how my password got leaked onto Roblox. The surprise was, they were leaking my password with my email. And I used the same...
This is the time my mom faked her death so she didn't have to take care of me and my siblings. Yes, this girl really faked her death. So at the time, I was 5 and my little brother was 3. It started off with my mom saying that she didn't feel well and she couldn't pick me up from school, so the bus would have to take me home. Well, a few months after, she started getting picked up from our house by this black car. She said that car was picking her up because of her so-called doctor's appointments. And she wasn't able to drive herself because she was too sick. Well, one day, when this car came to pick her up, she never came home. Me and my little brother were sitting around for a couple days waiting for her to come home, but she never came home. And we were young, so we didn't do anything. Eventually, my aunt came over to our house and told my little brother and I that our mom had passed away and that she was cremated and they kept the ashes. So our aunt started taking care of us. Until one day I saw my aunt getting picked up by that same black car. That's when I started to get suspicious of everything and I decided to check these ashes. When I checked, it was flour. Like for part 2. This is part 2 of the time my mom faked her death so she didn't have to take care of me and my siblings. Like I said, my aunt told me that my mom had died and they cremated her and they let her keep the ashes and that she was going to start taking care of us. Me not knowing how long the cremating process actually took at the time since I was so young, I believed her. Until one day I saw my aunt getting picked up by the same black car that my mom used to get picked up by before she died. That's when I decided to check these supposed ashes.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A junior in high school was home alone working on a paper while his parents were out to dinner. All night he sits with his back to his door, sitting at his desk with his noise-canceling headphones on. Around 11 o'clock he takes his headphones off at the same time his parents are returning to the house, and he hears his mom from downstairs yell, "Hey Adrian, what happened?" Confused, he runs downstairs and sees right away what she's looking at. Muddy footprints all over the rug. He tells her, "I didn't leave my desk." And then they realize someone must have broken in. They look at the footprints and there's none leaving the house. They're worried someone's still in the house, so they run into the garage, terrified, call the police. Police arrive and they don't find anyone in the house, but they do make a chilling discovery upstairs. The police bring them to the kid's bedroom door, which had been left open all night, and they point to the message written on it in Sharpie. This is the actual transcript of what was written on his door, which means for nearly 2 hours, someone stood in this kid's doorway watching him.
Storytime of how my stepmom got so jealous of me and my dad's bond that she plotted to kill me. So I never really liked my stepmom in the first place because she was a little controlling over my dad. And I just knew that she hated me and I really hated her too. But you know, my dad was in love and he seemed happy, so I didn't really say anything. And my dad would always take me to lunch on Saturdays and Sundays. And we'd have like a dad-daughter bonding day, I guess. And me and my dad were just super close. And every single weekend, me going to lunch with him would start an argument between them two because she said I was taking time away from them two. My dad really never chose sides, but I never really got involved in the relationship as much as I hated her because I just loved seeing my dad happy. Also, at this time, I was 15. And what I'm about to say next might sound just a little crazy and unbelievable, but I'm not sure who she was on the phone with. But while on the phone with somebody, she was talking about getting rid of me. Mind you, my mom had passed away when I was younger, and I really had no other family to go to. Now this is where the story takes a turn for the worse and she tries to get rid of me. I'm running out of time for the crazy part 2. Part 2 of how my stepmom got so jealous of me and my dad's bond that she plotted to kill me. Continuing on with the story, I don't know who she was on the phone with, but I overheard her on the phone saying that she was going to get rid of me. And honestly, I didn't really care and I didn't really think anything of it because I knew she was crazy, but I didn't think she was that crazy. So all of a sudden, she started making me breakfast. And I'm not a breakfast person. I can't eat right when I get up. So every time she would make me breakfast, I'd be like, thanks, but I'm not hungry. And she would get so mad. Like, so freaking mad. I'm not going to get into all the little details, but comes to find out, she was putting rat poison in my food. She had set up cameras in my room. And I don't know what kind of sense this makes. I think she's just crazy, but she started to hide snakes in my room and claim it was my fault that the snakes were coming in my room. Yeah, doesn't really make any sense. Once I told my dad and my dad got out of his little in love stage with her, he finally stepped up and said something to her. And she admitted that she wanted me dead. He eventually called the cops, and to this day, she is in jail for attempted murder. Oh, did I forget to mention the day that he broke up with her, she tried to stab me in the throat.
So yesterday I was really bored, so I just decided that I would drive around my neighborhood. So I got in my car, I was warming it up, whatever, and I see my neighbor staring at me through their window. So I'm like, is this dude really about to say something? So I just ignore him. I'm like, do whatever you want to do, I don't care. And I pull out of my driveway and I drive off. 2 seconds later, I see my neighbor's car following me. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're just leaving the neighborhood. Maybe they're going to the store or something. Maybe they're not even following me. So I take a left, they take a left. I take another left, they take another left. To the point where I make a whole circle and they keep following me. So I did 2 more circles around the neighborhood, still were following me. Up until I pulled into my driveway and they sped off. I love having nosy neighbors.